Good morning, members. Request to stand up for our institute motto, then followed by national anthem. एक एक शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तब जय गाथा जगत मंगल गायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय भारत माता की जय। So before we start today's session, just two major announcements. 21st June we have International Yoga Day, so we are celebrating that Yoga Day at time in Surya or JB Nagar Andheri East. So requesting members to present. We are giving 30 yoga mats free, first come first basis. Number two, we are starting a tech session on Saturday once in a month. So very happy to see the overwhelming response from the members. We just started within 1 hour, all seats are full up. So we had to close out. And we got a few additional checks also, 10, 12 members also paid, but seats are limited. We restricted that seat for because seating capacity is limited to 50 seats. So we have to return balance whatever the additional 10 or 12 members fees we have received. We have to refund that amount too. So with that and in continuation of our new income tax changes whatever had. So we are covering all those topics. Still lot more to go. So today's topic, Shashank Bhai is here. So he will cover filing ITR, whatever the changes in that, and subject to the few others also ancillary things he will cover up. So with this, I'll request Nidhi Lalpuria ji to give brief introduction of our speaker. He's our regular speaker. Last year also he was with us. So with this, Nidhi, please. Followed by moment of follow.
सर एक और अनाउंसमेंट है ये अनाउंसमेंट बंसल जी नहीं करेंगे क्योंकि इन्होंने अभी रिसेंटली 35 न्यू मेंबर्स इंट्रोड्यूस किए हैं अपने 35 इट्स नॉट ए स्मॉल अमाउंट
They had no connection with JB Nagar.
Yes.
First में कभी नहीं थे मतलब member नहीं थे first timers.
So, loud applause for it.
Yes, thank you, Mehta ji. And on my go-to models, I had announced that I will help young communal groups. So you will see one of the amount of members are attached to us. So it is our responsibility to so that you can see one of the members, young volunteers on the list. So we are looking into members also. So one of them started coding. Yes. And I mean, there are, since Mahesh has started, so there are a lot of ideas. But I don't know how I can work because you know, working professional at a senior position, every day I mean, so much hectic, back to back, so many, I mean, completely every day 24 movies. So on daily basis, I am going to 10 phone calls from members, but which unfortunately I cannot take up. But on WhatsApp message, I respond immediately and 100% response. But call I cannot do, you can understand working process is difficult for me to in a meeting I cannot take. So my request to members, so please drop me a message, you will get instant reply. Even if it is a meeting, I can all WhatsApp messages. I am not good morning, but any work related or any ask or any query, I instantly respond to those WhatsApp messages. I cannot take call.
Lot of new initiation by Lalit.
Yes, so lot of new initiative and a lot. I mean, just saying I don't know, but I thought of introducing our members who have done some achievement in their life. So working on that, discuss with our convener or advisory board. If they approve, so we will call few members who have done some achievements in our life or professional circle, something. So we will initiate if they will approve. So many such ideas are there.
Blood donation का 17
11 July.
11 July वो भी
11 July we are hosting a blood donation drive. This so
it is
किसी ने तो मेरे भगवान को बोला कि आप ग्रुप भी चूज करो तो वो कुछ छोड़ना नहीं है
इधर ही रहेगा कोहिनूर में as usual.
So we have communication with Tata Hospital. They are coming last year. So every year we have communication with the Tata Hospital. They are thorough professionals. So we will arrange only this year only. So for 11 July, I am requesting all to be present in a large number and make it a success. We have committed to the
plus other tests.
100 plus we are coordinating with few other hospitals for others tests like eye test, test, bone test, that kind of few other NCP tests. I mean, in the occasion.
It's open for all.
So open for all. Please bring your family member, friend, relatives, whosoever. I mean, it's not restricted to members only. So my request to you all, please bring members in large numbers with family, friends, whosoever. We have committed to them. We will arrange at least 100 bottles. So we have to break that record. Last year we could do only 80 bottles. 80 bottles. 80 so bottles. We have to bring to 100 bottles this time.
वो तो आपके टाइम में हो ही नहीं.
तो जो नहीं आएंगे उनको एक तो देना पड़ेगा.
वो नए 35 आए हैं उन सबसे ले लेंगे.
Just joking. So
yeah. Thank you.
Please.
Thank you, Convener. So Advocate C. Shashank Ajay Mehta is always there with us every year to guide us on ITRs. So this year he's there. So he's not new to the study circle, but anyway. So he is associated with DHA Legal, BNC and Associate Chartered Accountant Firm, NK Jalan and Company Chartered Accountant Firm. His core area of practice is tax litigations. He is into advisory in the field of income tax, GST and service tax litigations. He regularly represents before the Bombay High Court, Income Tax Appellate Tribunal and First Appeal Authorities. He is also drafting of SLPs for Supreme Court matters, drafting of appeals and writs for High Court, and submissions at various commissioner levels and all. The extracurricular, he gives lecture at all the possible forums like CTC, BCAS, and everywhere. He's a content writer. He's a visiting faculty at KC Law College, Siddharth Law College, and other coaching institute for CA curriculum, contributing articles to various, again, all the books possible. So welcome, Shashank, and I request Mahesh and Chintan to please give a moment on behalf of JB Nagar Study Circle as part of our tradition.
One more thing before session by take over. First year in our junior study circle history, we had media circulation about our junior study circle. Last Sunday we invited one political BJP president member. So one few members expressed their displeasure that we are politically inviting person. So there was no political discussion. Purely on the topic, even you could have not, and I have recording also that BJP president also spoke about our topic only, and media circulation was about our topic only. There was no political intention, so we don't encourage any political affiliation here. This is a purely professional body, so we only I am the public topic or the international knowledge only. So I mean, and we will similar way to media circulation on our study group. So even though I got 6-7 days, so I thought before I announce, first I will announce, then I will circulate. So we will circulate to members on our JB group. Floor is all yours. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Indeed, a pleasure morning to be here with you all. I would like to thank the JB Nagar Study Circle for this opportunity. I think this is the 4th or the 5th time I have been entrusted with this dais of this esteemed study circle. Very much obliged to the JB Nagar Study Circle. Thank you, the entire committee members. Thanks to you all for turning up here for this session. Taking the name of the Almighty, my parents, my gurus, I beg your permission to commence this lecture. This year, I am more concerned about the due date of the summer season rather than the tax filings which are coming up in the upcoming season. खत्म ही नहीं हो रहा है गर्मी, बारिश आ ही नहीं रहा है, right? बाहर season change हो या ना हो, in few weeks the season in your offices are going to change for sure. The clouds of ITRs and tax audit reports are going to hover over your offices, right? And in fact, this is the last season where we will be referring to the Income Tax Act 1961, our beloved act, unless your clients are served with notices under for reassessment or search assessment, right? So today's session, we are going to discuss about how we are going to approach this last season of ITR filings and under the Income Tax Act 1961. In today's session, I have divided my presentation into 4 parts. The first part, we will be discussing the relevant amendments which were made in the Finance Act 2025 and couple of amendments made in Finance Act 2026, which will be applicable for the relevant assessment year 2026-27. Thereafter, we will be discussing the disclosure or the changes made in the ITR form itself. In the third part, in very brief, we are going to discuss certain judicial precedents which may be referred or which may be kept in mind while filing the ITRs. And the fourth part is a self-study module where I have copy-pasted the FAQs which are posted by the Income Tax Department on their new website, specifically with respect to assessment year 26-27. So that is also incorporated here. If time permits, definitely we will also be discussing one of our favorite subjects, that is presumptive taxation. Okay. So with this, let us start with the presentation. Talking about the notifications of the ITR, the ITRs were notified well before time. Notified every year ho hi jata hai. It's about when they operate actually. I don't think so. Even today, ITR 3 is available, ITR 5 is available, 6, 7, nothing is available as of now, right? Only ITR 1, 2 and 4 is available right now. Okay, so notification to aa jata hai, no problem. That is only helpful for the lectures. So notification was made on 30th of March 2026. Now coming to the amendments, the very first one. Rule 12 of the Income Tax Rule 1962 prescribes various ITRs, that is ITR 1 to ITR 7. It also prescribes the conditions for the eligibility to select or to opt for a particular ITR. So if you satisfy those conditions, only then you can select ITR 1. If you satisfy XYZ condition, only then you can select ITR 2. So as such, as compared to what was there in rule number 12 last year, there are no material changes as such, except for one change which I have mentioned over here. That is with respect to eligibility conditions of ITR 1. Up to last year, up to the last assessment year, a person having more than one house property was debarred from filing ITR 1. He was required to file ITR 2 only. In this year, they have made this amendment in the ITR rule number 12 to provide that a person having house properties up to 2 can opt for ITR 1. Okay, if you are having 3, then no, you have to go for ITR 2 only. So this is one of the important changes which you can look into while filing the ITRs. Apart from that, you will have to also examine the conditions which are provided in the 7th proviso to section 139(1), which provides for additional conditions where the assessee is required or mandated to file the ITR even though his total income is less than the basic exemption limit. So those line items are there in the 7th proviso. Now we're coming to the very first amendment. Amendment made in section 16 clause 1A. Up to assessment year 24-25. Standard deduction under section 16 clause 1A was 50,000 for both type of taxation scheme, that is your old scheme, new regime, old regime, सबके लिए 50,000 था, no problem. Finance Act 2025 made an amendment in section 16 clause 1A saying that if you are opting for the new tax regime under section 115 BAC subsection 1A clause Roman 2, please remember clause Roman 2, then the standard deduction will be 75,000. Now what is 115 BAC subsection 1A Roman 2? Roman 2 prescribes a table which gives the slab rate for assessment year 2025-26. So for assessment year 25-26, it was 75,000, no problem with that. Finance Act 2025 also made an amendment in section 115 BAC subsection 1A, wherein it introduced clause number 3. What is clause number 3? It provides for the slab rates for the assessment year 2026-27. However, Section 16 clause 1A was not amended to incorporate the insertion of clause 3, meaning if you read only the Finance Act 2025, you will find that the standard deduction for assessment year 26-27 would only be rupees 50,000, whereas for 25-26 it would be 75,000, because in 16(1)(a) they had not incorporated clause number 3. So they realized this mistake, and with Taxation Laws Amendment Act 2025, they made an amendment in section 16(1)(a) to provide that even 75,000 standard deduction will be available for assessment year 26-27. Perquisites. Any kind of benefits or amenities which are given by an employer to certain categories of employees are considered as perquisites in the hand of those employees. So it will be taxable as if it's a salary for them, but in the hands of employees. Who are the specific categories of employees? They are directors or person having substantial interest in that particular employer. Third category are those employees who are earning salary income under the head salary of rupees 50,000. So if there any benefit is given, say I am an employer, there is one employee, I am giving him some amenities, some benefits, it will be taxable in his hands only and only if that employee income under that salary is more than 50,000. So if it is less than 50,000, it will not be taxable. Now this 50,000 limit is such a small limit that two of the entire year, पूरे साल का 50,000 रखा था, that was decided in the year 2001. Thereafter it was never revised. छोटे से छोटा एम्प्लॉय भी रहेगा, उसका भी पूरे साल का salary will be more than 50,000 naturally, right? So after like almost 25 years, they realized that we need to increase this limit. So now they have prescribed that in rule number 3C that the limit is raised to 4 lakh rupees. So now if your employee's salary is more than 4 lakh, only then that perquisites will be taxable in hands of that particular employee. If it is less than 4 lakh under their salary, then it will not be taxable as perquisites. Medical expenditure which are taken over by the employer for the benefit of his employees are excluded from the definition of perquisites. So if the employer is bearing that cost, the employee will not be liable to tax it under the heads of perquisites. This medical cost will include 3 components: the travel cost, stay cost, and the actual medical treatment cost. Now this is an exception to perquisites, but there is one more condition which is prescribed, which is that the air cost which is borne by the employer will not be excluded from the definition of perquisites if the gross total income of that particular employee is more than rupees 2 lakhs. ठीक है, तो अगर मैं कोई एम्प्लॉय के बिहाफ पे मैं अगर उसका मेडिकल का खर्चा उठा रहा हूं एंड इफ इज ट्रैवलिंग समवेयर एयर कॉस्ट एंड दैट एम्प्लॉयज का अगर ग्रॉस टोटल इनकम इज एक्सीडिंग 2 lakh, then this airfare will be included as if it is perquisites, right? Now again, this 2 lakh rupees was introduced in the year 1993 or something like that. Thereafter it was never revised. In 2025, they have revised it to 8 lakh rupees. This is something, a good benefit. Say for example, there is a small peon or someone in the office whose income is say around 7 lakh or up to 8 lakh rupees, okay, gross total income. Then at least for that particular employee, genuinely, when you give some benefit of like medical treatment, etc., at least that could be exempt if at all he is to travel somewhere, air cost, etc. Otherwise, this 2 lakh rupees was too less, right? Even those small employees were not able to get the benefit of it. Income from house property. Amendment was made in Finance Act 2025. It was applicable even for the assessment year 25-26. We'll be discussing it a bit in detail. Before that, we'll just brush up the provisions of section 23 subsection 1. Section 23 subsection 1 provides that you are required to calculate the annual letting value of a property for the purpose of taxation under section 22, that is the charging section. Subsection 1 provides how to calculate that ALV, reasonable rent, expected rent, actual rent, lower, higher, etc., etc. You know that. Okay, so subsection 1 will give you the value of ALV. Subsection 2 says, irrespective of whatever you have calculated in subsection 1, your ALV will be considered as rupees nil if at all you satisfy any of these two conditions. The very first condition which they have mentioned is that particular property or that particular house property is in the occupation of the owner for the purpose of his own residence. Very important. So in short, what we call as a self-occupied property. So if there is a property, okay, which I am the owner of that property, and if I am occupying that property, then okay, fine, your ALV will be nil. Second category where the ALV will be considered as nil is a condition where the owner of the property is unable to occupy his own property specifically for the reason that he is employed somewhere else or he is carrying on his business somewhere else. Because of this purpose, he is not able to occupy that property. And along with that, a cumulative condition that the place where he is working, he should not be staying in the property which belongs to him over there, if any. So in short, it says that if you are working outside, you must be staying at a place which does not belong or which is not owned by you at that particular place wherever you are working. So if both of these conditions in clause B, 23 subsection 2 clause B, both of it are satisfied, then your ALV will be considered as nil. Fair enough. Subsection 3 provides that subsection 2 has some fitter. What is that fitter? It says that if at all your property, you are satisfying the conditions of subsection 2. However, if you are deriving any benefit from that particular property, then the benefit of subsection 2 will not be allowed to you. So in short, it says that आप vacant है property, आप बाहर हो, but if this property is still earning you something, if it is giving you some benefit, then you cannot claim the allowance under section 23 subsection 2 clause B. Subsection 4 says that the benefit of subsection 2 will be extended for maximum of 2 house properties, not more than that. This amendment subsection 4 was brought 4-5 years back, and at that point of time everyone layman had a general assumption कि भाई ठीक है 2 SOP मैं claim कर सकता हूँ, 2 SOP मैं claim कर सकता हूँ. That is what this amendment was. Subsection 4 I am talking about. So these are the pre-amended provisions what we discuss right now. Now let us understand what are the difficulties faced by certain taxpayers under the pre-amended provisions. The very first example, say Mr. Brigadier has 2 houses in Mumbai. He is deployed in the Delhi headquarters with his family. He is getting one house over there. So in this case, both the houses in Mumbai are vacant. So whether he will get the benefit of subsection 2 of section 23, the answer to it is yes. He will get the benefit under clause B. What is clause B? That owner is not occupying that property, he is somewhere else. And somewhere else maybe kaisa hai ki he is not occupying his own house over there. He is not staying in his own house over there. So here he is staying in the government provided houses, for example. ठीक है? So in this case, he will get the benefit of section 23, subsection 2, clause B. Second scenario. Mr. Brigadier has 2 houses in Mumbai. However, he is deployed in Jammu and Kashmir, and his family is residing in one of the houses in Mumbai. So Mumbai में 2 घर है, वो चला गया Jammu Kashmir. His family is staying in one house which is owned by that Mr. Brigadier in Mumbai. In this case, the other house which is vacant, उसमें कोई problem नहीं है. There, Mr. Brigadier can say that that house is vacant because I have employed somewhere else, and somewhere else I am staying in some other house not belonging to me. So the house in Mumbai which is vacant, you can claim section 23, subsection 2, clause B. Now coming to a house where his family is staying. Two is possible. One is assessee's view, other is department's view. Assessee, Mr. Brigadier will say that, okay, fine, I am in Jammu Kashmir. I have two houses in Mumbai. One is vacant, that is undisputed. One has been occupied by my family. Now, this particular house, I am the owner. I am not occupying it. The first limb of clause B is satisfied because I am employed somewhere else. He says second limb is also complied because I am staying in Jammu Kashmir in a house which is not belonging to me. So according to assessee, he says even though his family is staying in that house, but because he is not occupying that house and he is saying somewhere else which does not belong to him, that means section 23, subsection 2, clause B is also satisfied. This is the view of the assessee. View of the department. Department says, okay, fine. First property के लिए vacant है उसके लिए we are not disputing. Second property says that, department says that your family is staying there, that means you are getting some benefit out of it. So subsection 3 will be attracted. This is the view of the department taken in certain cases. Hence, they say that you cannot claim the benefit of section 23, subsection 2, clause B. They support their view with the help of this couple of decisions which I have cited, which obliquely says that even if my daughter is occupying my own house somewhere, I cannot claim it as an SOP. If my cousin is occupying my own house somewhere, which is owned by me, and I am not staying in that house, but my cousin or my daughter is staying there, still I cannot claim it as my SOP. These are the couple of decisions based on which they are taking this view. So there is some ambiguity. I can say there are conflicting views with respect to this particular scenario. Yes, sir.
If I am going to that particular place where my son is staying, weekly, that is Saturday, Sunday, or Friday, Sunday, and what would you do?
I can say I am occupying it.
So both of them accept that gets.
Yes. Sir, actually no one comes to check. This is just an academic or I can say legal discussion. Okay. Third scenario. This is important. Mr. Brigadier has two houses, one in Mumbai and another one is Delhi. However, he is deployed in Delhi with his family in that particular house which belongs to him. So Mumbai house is vacant. The vacant house has no problem. 23 subsection 2 clause B applicable. I am not staying there. Okay, because I am employed somewhere. I'm sorry. The Delhi house will be exempt under section 23 subsection 2 clause 1, saying that I am the owner and I am occupying that house. So Delhi house will have no problem. What about the other house which is in vacant in Mumbai? That creates the issue. You can claim it nil ALB only if I am not occupying that house for being employed somewhere else. That is satisfied. But second condition says that you will have to stay at that other place, not in your own house, but here in this example, Delhi wala house mera khud ka hai and I am staying there with my family, right? So in this particular case also, for Mumbai house, the benefit of section 23 subsection 2 is not available, just because I am staying in my own house in Delhi and my Mumbai house is vacant. Okay, so this ambiguity or this kind of benefit of so-called subsection 4, which gives you option to offer two SOPs, were not being extended to this kind of SSCs. Correct? Now to tackle this scenario, Finance Act 2025 made an amendment in subsection 2. So presently also there are two conditions in subsection 2. The amended subsection 2 also has two conditions. Now what are those conditions? The very first condition is that the owner occupies for his own residence. So that was also there in the pre-amended provisions. That owner is occupying for his own residence, no problem. that is still there. Second one, or if the owner cannot actually occupy due to any reason. So this is like a very broad, I can say, interpretation you can make. So if I have a house property and if I cannot occupy it myself for any damn reason, then also I will be able to claim the benefit of section 23 subsection 2. So this particular condition, which is numbered as B over here, that will now solve the issue which we faced in scenario 2 and scenario 3 in the example we discussed. Okay, because now the owner will say कि ठीक है भाई मेरी फैमिली उधर रहे ना रहे, I am not able to occupy for any reason. What is the reason? I am employed somewhere else. So irrespective of whether my family is staying there or not, I will get the benefit of SOP, or I can say nil ALP, not SOP, nil ALP. Even in the third world scenario, that was a typical scenario. Okay, I am staying in my Delhi house with my family, Mumbai house vacant. Okay, earlier it was taxed, now it will not be taxed because I am not occupying it for any damn reason. Fine. Okay, so this is required to be taken care of while filing the ITRs. Now coming to a possible ambiguity which can arise out of this condition number B. In the pre-amended provisions, if you see, the pre-amended provisions specifically use the word occupy for his own residence in clause number 1 over here. Okay, I will get nil ALV if I occupy for my own residence. Second clause, clause B pre-amended says, I am not able to occupy my own house because I am employed somewhere else and I reside in a house not belonging to me. Reside in the house not belonging to me. So both these conditions had the word resides. Now who can reside? Only a natural person can reside. An artificial person, a company, a firm cannot reside. Now coming to the amendment. Amendment clause B says that if the owner cannot actually occupy it due to any reason. So here the amended language verbatim dicta I have incorporated. Okay, just read the red lines. If the owner cannot actually occupy it due to any reason. So here the word residence has been omitted from everywhere. So now can I say I am a partnership firm or I am a company, I am having 2 residential properties in my name, I am the owner and I cannot occupy it for any reason. There is no requirement of residing over there. So can we say now that even a company or even a firm can claim such house properties as SOP? Okay, the time will test, but interpretation goes like this. Are you with me? Okay, so the omission of the word residence from there can have some impact on how the non-natural person are going to claim house property, as a nil ALV. So we in layman language say that 2 SOP, 2 SOP. It's not 2 SOPs. It's claiming nil ALV pursuant to the condition given in subsection 2. Okay, so which even a company is satisfying in this particular case. Now coming to capital gains, unit taxation, every year there is some or the other amendment, every year. Just a background, a quick background I can say. Section 10, clause 10D provides exemption when you receive any amount from the life insurance policies. Everything is exempt. That is what the first line says. Thereafter, there are riders, proviso. Proviso says that, okay, fine, everything you receive from LIP, life insurance policy, exempt. However, it will not be exempt in following cases. The first case is where parents or a guardian has taken a policy in the name of a dependent disabled person, and that dependent disabled person predeceased that assessee. Then in that case, whatever proceeds are received by the assessee will be taxed. Second is scheme and insurance policy. There is a separate taxation for that. It will be considered as perquisites, IFOS, different taxation method for scheme and insurance policies received. Third category is excess premium policies. What is excess premium policies? Just for the sake of our convenience, we refer to it as excess premium policies. These are the policies where the premium which is contributed by us exceeds 20% of the total sum assured. So in such kind of policies, the proceeds will be taxed. It will not be exempt. So if my
premium is less than that sum assured, 20% of the sum assured, then in that case proceeds will be exempt, otherwise it will be taxable. This is in the case of excess premium. There is another category which we refer to as higher premium category. What is higher premium category? Higher premium category means a policies where you pay premium above a particular threshold. So there are two categories. One is for ULIP and the other is for other categories. So in case of ULIPs, this section provides that if your insurance policy is such that where the premium paid for that ULIP policy is more than 2,50,000, then the proceeds from that particular policy will be taxable. If it is less than 2,50,000, it will be exempt. So what people started doing, they took multiple policies less than 2.5 lakhs. Okay, सबका amount will be less than 2.5 lakh, multiple policies. In order to avoid this kind of tax evasion, they brought out fifth proviso, which says that, okay, fine, if you have multiple ULIP policies and the aggregate premium, if it exceeds 2,50,000, it will be taxable. However, what you can do is you can club certain ULIP policies such that the premium is less than 2,50,000 for that bunch. So that particular bunch where the aggregate premium is less than 2,50,000, the proceeds from that policy will not be taxable, it will continue to be exempt, but the balance policies, it will be taxable. Okay. Similarly, it was for non-ULIP policies. जो regular policies में the threshold was raised to 5 lakhs. So 5 lakh से ऊपर single policy का 5 lakh से ऊपर है, it will be taxable. 5 lakh से नीचे है तो it will not be taxable. ठीक है? Again, that proviso is there, 8th proviso, which says that aggregate भी आपको देखना है. Now, taxation angle, how to tax a ULIP policy, okay, where there are high premium paid, so that 2,50,000 wala category. So up to last year, section 214 that defines what is capital asset specifically included those policies where your ULIP premium is more than 2,50,000, either individually or in aggregate, जो भी आपका bunch बनाया हुआ है. Okay, so what in short it says that whatever taxable policies are there under ULIP, as per section 1010D, the taxable policies, those will be considered as capital asset under section 2 clause 14. Accordingly, section 45(1)(b) provided for the taxation of those taxable ULIP policies. Okay, so taxable ULIP policies ka taxation is given in 45(1)(b), read with rule 8(a)(d) that will go through it in just a couple of slides. Okay, but this was applicable only for high premium policies. There was no specific provision given for excess premium policies which are taxable. Say for example, I have ULIPs. Okay, that ULIP amount is, the premium paid is more than 20% of the sum assured. So that is definitely taxable. It is not exempt. But now, because there was no express provision in the law as to how to tax it, I was having liberty to either tax it as capital gain or to tax it as other IFOS. So there was some ambiguity कि भाई इसको कैसे tax किया जाए. Okay, so two views were possible. So in this particular Finance Act 2025, they have made an amendment, okay, under section 214 as well as under section 45(1)(b) to provide that now all the ULIP policies, be it excess premium, high premium, whatever you say, okay, they will be governed by the provisions of capital gains. ठीक है, तो कोई भी ULIP का अगर taxation आने वाला है, if there is any receipt which are taxable, you have to classify it under the head of capital gains only. ठीक है, now how to calculate the capital gains? That is rule 8D. This is there since long. Just a small example. Say for example, I have a policy which I have taken from 1st of April 22. 1st of April 22 is the date on which I have to pay premium every year. Okay, annual premium is 3 lakh rupees. Sum assured is 14 lakh. So now see over here, 3 lakh is more than 2,50,000. I have not complied that condition. That means I am not eligible for exemption. And even otherwise, this is more than 20% of the sum assured, the premium amount. So even that condition I am not satisfied. Okay, it is either or, but in here both the conditions are not being satisfied, so it is taxable. Now how to tax it? Say for example, in this year, that is assessment year 26-27 at the end, I have received 16 lakh rupees from that policy and a bonus of rupees 3 lakh. So it's very simple arithmetic calculation. Rule 80 says that add your sum assured, I mean the receipt proceeds from the policy 16 lakh, add a bonus to it, and from that you reduce the amount of premium paid up to now. So from 1st April 22, I have paid premium 4 times in the year 22, 23, 24, 25. Okay, on last premium was 1st of April 2025. So that will be allowed as my cost of acquisition. My long-term capital gain will be 7 lakh rupees. Okay, so this is the methodology given in Rule 8AB.
Can I consider it as a capital gain?
You have to.
But if I consider capital gain, the indexation I can take off.
Right now, sir, अभी तो indexation का तो option है ही नहीं वैसे. That is applicable only for a resident individual on the respect of an immovable property.
Whether it's long term and short term.
Period of holding. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
The thresholds are exceeds 2,50,000,
Correct.
20%. So what if the case is equal to 20% or equal to 250?
Exceeds is up to 2,50,000, you are fine. 2,50,000 and 1 rupees, you will be taxable.
I can invest this capital gain into capital gain bond.
Yes. Virtual digital asset, this concept came long back in this world, cryptocurrency, etc. There was no formal taxation methodology given in the statute. Finance Act 2022 introduced the provisions of Section 2, Clause 47A, which defines the concept of virtual digital asset. आज तक मुझे वो definition समझा नहीं है. It reminds me of the subject name ISCA we used to have in final CA. पूरा technical subject completely related to computers etc. पूरा ऊपर से जाता है. Even this definition right now also I am not able to understand it. Also, Section 115BBH was introduced. Very typical provision. A completely deterring provision introduced in the Act. It says that howsoever you treat your cryptocurrency gains, be it business income, be it capital gains, we are going to tax it at flat 30%. You take it as IFOS, you take it as PGBP, you take it as capital gain, whatever you do, we will tax it at 30%. Plus, you will be allowed only the corresponding acquisition cost, nothing more than that, not even other expenditure. Plus, it says that no setting of losses, nothing doing. Flat 30% on the pure FVOC minus COA. That's it. That is Section 115 BBH. Now, there is one more line item introduced in the definition of Section 247A. Again, that is very technical. Honestly speaking, I am not able to understand it, but there is something introduced, a concept of distributed ledger or similar technology, something like that. Now, I wanted to focus more on Clause C and Clause the proviso. Clause C says that even though there is some line items which are defined, but the central government has the power to further notify or expand this notification at any point of time. So for that purpose, they can come up with rule or something like that, notification at any point of time. ठीक है, to expand this definition because very dynamic. कल उठ के कोई नया concept आ जाएगा जो definition में बैठेगा नहीं, literally. But it is a crypto. To avoid such kind of scenarios, they have this clause C, which says that ठीक है, central government has the power to notify even further scenarios, which will be covered by VDA, virtual digital asset. ठीक है. Now coming to a practical scenario. Up to 2022 or 23, there was no formal channel to invest in a cryptocurrency as such. People used to invest to unregulated or semi-regulated stock exchanges, direct investment in bitcoins, whatever. From 2022 or from 2023, Bitcoin ETF were launched in the New York Stock Exchange and in Nasdaq. So like you all know what is exchange traded funds. It is as good as like similar to mutual fund. The fund will invest in that bitcoins and pass on the exposure to you. You are investing in the fund will invest in the bitcoins. Okay, you are not investing in Bitcoin, you are just purchasing the units from the ETFs and you are transferring the units of the ETF, not the Bitcoins. Now this NYSE, New York Stock Exchange, Nasdaq, when they brought in this concept of ETF, people started to invest in it. Say for example, I have invested in this ETF. Now the point comes how to tax it. 115 BBH applicable or not? That is the moot question because that the rate is 30%. My answer to this question is they cannot tax me under 115 BBH. The reason is simple. The ETF per se does not qualify any of the conditions presently in section 2 clause 47A. ETF is as good as like any other ETFs which we have, right? Even though it is on Bitcoins. Now, for that fund is investing in Bitcoin. I am not investing. I am not transferring the Bitcoins. I am not transferring the VDAs. I am transferring the ETFs. So there, the question of applicability of section 115BBH will not arise. That is my opinion. So in that case, I can claim tax rate of 12.5% or whatever that short-term applicable rate or whatever, but at least not 30%. Okay, so this was something new which I thought we should discuss, right? In the same place, instead of investing in ETF, I am directly investing in Bitcoin. Then in that case, 115 BBH will apply 30% tax. Are we clear on this? Okay, thank you. NPS Vatsalya scheme, section 80 CCD, subsection 1B, provides for 50,000 rupees deduction in case you invest in certain notified scheme. Notified schemes are Atal Pension Yojana and new pension scheme NPS. Okay, they have expanded this particular deduction line items to extend the benefit of section 80 CCD 1B even for NPS Vatsalya scheme. Now, what is NPS Vatsalya scheme? It is the scheme of pension, or I can say accumulating corpus for the benefit of minors. Okay, so you have to invest in that fund. Okay, for 18 years. After 18 years, it will be transferred to your children's. Okay, for the benefit of their education or medical, whatever. So this 50,000 deduction is expanded even if you invest in this NPS Vatsalya scheme. Another amendment which was brought by 2025 Act was withdrawal from these schemes, NPS Vatsalya scheme. So if you refer to the IRDA, that notification etc. is there for NPS Vatsalya scheme, that particular rules provides that the parents or the guardians can withdraw certain amount, okay, for the education of the child or for medical treatment of the child, provided they satisfy certain conditions. So that is there in the rule book of IRDA. Okay. However, section 80 CCD subsection 3 says, if at all you receive any amount prematurely or any point of time from this particular scheme, it will be taxable. This is what subsection 3 proposes. So now, as per the rules of bylaws of that scheme, I am entitled to withdraw. But taxation says, no, even if you withdraw, we'll tax it. So in order to bridge this gap, they have now provided a new clause in section 10, that is section 10 clause 10 12AB or something like that, 12AB I guess, yes, 12BA. So 12BA says that whatever amount you withdraw, you will get some exemption out of it. What will be the exemption? Exemption will be 25% of the amount which I have contributed in that. Okay, so that will be amount which will be considered as exempt out of the withdrawal which you make. Okay, so this is also a typical scenario. Denial of exemption to charitable trust, I'll just go through that, not spending much time on this.
Sir, that my question is, can the grandparent can claim?
It depends on who has taken that policy. Who has taken that policy? Okay, you are saying for your grandfather. I will have to look into that scheme. See, this particular section 80 CCD.
The word guardian is there.
Yes, guardian is there, definitely there. Okay, but what I mean to say is that Income Tax Act does not debar. You have to look into that scheme whether that is permitting you or not. Income Tax Act will not debar. Relating to trust, there is a concept where if the trust who are claiming exemption in section 11, if they are applying their funds for the benefit of some interested person, then that portion of application will not be allowed as exemption. So I have received donations. I am using some part of the donation for the benefit of some interested person. Then that portion will not be allowed as exemption. Now, who is interested person? Earlier, the limit was that, the provision stated that if at all a person, any person who has contributed more than 50,000 rupees in a particular previous year, then that person will become interested person. Plus, that interested person's relatives and interested person's entities where he is substantially interested, those two categories will also become interested person. So if now the trust is spending on them, okay, that particular interested person or relative or any interested, I can say, entities, then in that case, that particular part of application will not be allowed as exemption. So in this Finance Act 25, they have increased the limit from 50 lakh rupees to 1 lakh rupees to determine the contribution for that particular previous year itself. So 50,000 during the year मिला है, पहले more than 50,000 पहले अगर मिलता था, I became interested person. Now it is 1 lakh rupees per year. There is also cumulative amount which they have given of 10 lakh. So over the years, if you have contributed and if in a particular year you exceed that ratio of 10 lakh rupees, then you become interested person permanently, unless that 10 lakh rupees is revised. But another thing which they have given is that earlier even the relatives and the interested entities where you had substantial interest were considered as interested person. They have removed their category now. Okay. So say for example, I have contributed a good amount to a particular trust and that particular trust is acting for the benefit of another entity where I am also partner. Now that will not be considered as, denial of exemption. Okay. Promoting Make in India technology. This came last year when we had a lot of discussion about the production of semiconductors. Okay, this presumptive scheme was introduced only for non-residents. Okay, who are giving some services or technology to specified Indian companies only Indian companies who are engaged in certain electric manufacturing or related trading related activities. Okay, they should be notified by the central government. Only for them this presumptive scheme is applicable to the non-resident who is giving such technology or services to the Indian companies. Okay, the presumptive amount is 25% of the amount which is actually received or deemed to have been received or receivable. So 25% is the presumptive rate for them. This is only applicable for non-residents. That's it. Interesting point. Section 72 provides that if at all you have unobserved losses from your business and profession after all intra-head adjustment, if there is a loss, you are allowed to carry it forward for 8 years. So far so good, no problem. There is general understanding and even law provides that the person who has incurred the losses, only that person can carry forward it and only that person can set off the losses. Okay, that are provided in various provisions. There is an exception which is given in section 72 capital A and 72 capital AA, which is with respect to the amalgamation. In case of amalgamation, there is an exception which is given which says that if at all there is an amalgamation and if the predecessor company has losses, they will be transferred to the amalgamated company. And the wordings are such that it says that it will be deemed as if it is the loss of the amalgamated company for that previous year in which amalgamation took place. The wordings are for that previous year in which the amalgamated took place. So this particular interpretation created an issue. What issue? Section 72 very clear, 8 years. Section 72A, 72AA says, okay, fine, you can transfer it to your amalgamated company, and for amalgamated company, that will be the loss of the year, as if it is the loss of that year in which amalgamation took place. So it will be like a fresh losses for that new company. So now amalgamation company will say, amalgamated company will say, I will carry it for another 8 years. So this provision was misused by many companies in the sense that उनके पास accumulated losses ज़्यादा थे. 7th year पे they used to amalgamate it with some dummy company. अभी 7 loss उधर आ गया, वापिस 8 years करो, and there are judicial precedents which support this view because there was no bar in the law to do that. And even wordings of section 72A and 72AA says that it will be the losses of the amalgamated company for the year of amalgamation. So of course, if I am formed in this year and I have losses of this year, I can carry forward 8 years. To avoid this kind of misuse of the provision, they have now corrected it to say that, okay, fine, even the amalgamated company will be able to carry forward, but carry forward for 8 years also, no problem. But 8 years has to be calculated from the year in which the loss was first incurred by the predecessor company. So this loophole is plugged in now. You cannot use this anymore. Am I clear? Thank you so much. Rebate, yes. No. Yes. Yes. Anyways, even if it was have been retrospectively, as per the jurisprudence, this is a substantive right which was scrubbed. So anyways, it will not apply retrospectively. Rebate, one of the most debated topic.
What about
Parent company's losses are there, okay, they got demerged. The losses will be transferred to the new company. The original date. The date on which the parent company had incurred the losses. From there, you have to count 8 years. Rebate, unfortunately, this should not have been a topic of debate. But it is. I fail to understand. I think for lawyers like me, income tax department are only generating the revenues. Eligible FSC for rebate, only resident and that to only individuals, no one else. If you are going with the old scheme, you will get rebate only if your total income is up to 5 lakh rupees, sorry. The amount of rebate which you can get is either 100% of the tax or rupees 12,500, whichever is lower. This is the only condition. Please remember, this is section 87. Main part, the body, that is with respect to the old scheme. Now there is a proviso. Proviso provides for rebate in case of the new scheme, the new regime. It says that if your total income is up to rupees 12 lakh, you are eligible to get rebate. What is the amount of rebate? 100% of the tax amount or 60,000 rupees, whichever is lower. There is additional benefit given only in the proviso of marginal benefit of rebate. That is to say that, say for example, the total income is 12,50,000. That's just marginal increase in your income. As such, you will be debarred because the main part of the proviso says should be up to 12 lakh rupees. But clause 2 says, no, you will be entitled, but you will get only proportionate rebate in that case. So in my case, say for example, 12,50,000 is the amount of total income. I am exceeding the threshold by 50,000 rupees. 12,50,000 in case of salaried, very simple case, amount will come to 67,500 rupees tax amount, total tax amount. What will be the amount of rebate out of this 67,500? It has to be calculated in this particular formula which I have mentioned over here. It will be the total tax, that is 67,500 less my actual total income 12,50,000 less 12 lakh rupees of original threshold, which is 50,000. So 67,500 minus 50,000, it comes to 17,500. So 17,500 is the amount of rebate which I will get from my actual tax of 67,500. My tax liability will be 50,000. Okay? The marginal benefit only for new scheme. Please understand. Now, after whatever ruckus happened last year, रिगार्डिंग 87 है, अचानक से 4 जुलाई को क्या आ गया, सपने में पूरा यूटिलिटी चेंज कर दिया, एंड ऑल दोस ब्लंडर हैपेंड, वी ऑल नो. Thereafter they made this amendment in the last saying that only for the new schema, please remember this is only in the proviso. It says that there is one more rider कि by 60,000 100% of the tax, whichever is lower, further it will be the lower of that amount or the amount of tax which you calculate only as per the provisions of section 115 BSc 1A. What is 115 BSc 1A? It is the new scheme. So in short, जो new scheme के अंदर tax आता है आपका, only for that उतने amount का maximum rebate आपको मिल सकता है under this provision. So now in short, they have secluded all the special rate का जो भी issue था कि भाई STCG के ऊपर के income का tax जो भी आता है उसके ऊपर rebate मिलना चाहिए नहीं मिलना चाहिए, everything is wiped out. Why? Because they will say maximum rebate only to the extent of tax under 115 BAC. And tax under 115 BAC does not include tax under 111A. Okay, so in this way they have excluded all the special tax. But still, if you go by the old scheme, according to me, still your 111A will qualify for rebate. Because this particular amendment is only for 115 BAC in the proviso. Nothing amended in the main body. Main body is for the old scheme. ठीक है?
Total income.
Total income for the purpose of determining the eligibility as to whether your this thing is, I mean, it's exceeding 12 lakh or not. Again, there can be 2 points over there also. But according to me, I will say, when you say total income, it has to be everything. The word which you have written is the total income exceed 12 lakh. When I say total income, if you refer to the definition of total income in section 2, it says that the total income as computed as per the provisions of the law. Provisions of the law will also include your STCG, etc. everything. So that according to me, it should include everything.
Incremental.
Yes. So you will not get rebate for STCG, but you will have to include it in while calculating whether you are eligible or not. Yes. Processing of ITR 143.1. There is one more line item added that they will make automatic adjustment in your ITRs if your ITRs figures are somehow inconsistent from the figures you have filled up in the previous ITRs. So they have not yet notified what can be the inconsistency, but from my own understanding, I have mentioned a couple of inconsistency. What can be such inconsistency which can flow from the previous year's ITRs? It can be of carry forward losses, unabsorbed depreciation, opening balance of the block of asset, etc. etc. Okay. Transitory provision, section 536 of the Income Tax Act 2025, a very important provision. See, when the bill came, if you even Google it today, you will find a lot of good articles of Times of India, Economic Times, etc. etc. Based on the reading of the bill, there was one headline which says that now, while transiting to the new act, you will be allowed to set off your long-term or short-term, whatever losses you have under the capital gain, under any type of losses under the new act, any type of capital gain loss under the new act. So the wordings of the bill was something like कि भाई आपका STCG हो या LTCG हो, specifically written over there. You can transfer it to the new act, and under the new act, you will be allowed to set off under the head capital gains. That's it. The wording was under the head capital gain. They did not specify कि भाई LTCG को LTCG के सामने ही करना है, as is required right now under the 1961 Act. So those words were not there in the bill. But thereafter, some intellectual people came. They made a suggestion to the select committee saying that कि भाई यहाँ पे तो allowed नहीं है LTCG को STCL के सामने set off करना. अभी आपने यहाँ पे wording ऐसा रखा है that people will be able to do it. So then they made these changes in section 536, and now it is like as per the manner provided under the old act. So in the old act के अंदर अपने को पता है LTCG, if you have losses, you cannot set off against the STCG gains, right? A taxation of buyback, again, something which is a complete merry-go-round, up to 2013. Very simple provision. Section 46A. Buyback पे जो भी मिला है, that will be your FEOC. आपने जो भी cost दिया है, that will be your cost of acquisition, resulting in your capital gain. Simple as that. For every kind of companies, be it listed, be it unlisted. Then, from 2013 to 2029, they carved out unlisted companies from 46A. What was the unlisted companies के लिए we are bringing some new structure. What is the new structure? That company will pay buyback tax and the proceed will be exempt in the hands of shareholder only for unlisted companies. This was from 2013 to 2019. From 2019 to 2024, now they say ठीक है, ये जो पहले हमने unlisted company के लिए carve out किया था, that will apply even to the unlisted, listed companies. So now in short, up to 2024, from 2019, all companies, right, listed, bit unlisted, they had to pay PBT, buyback distribution tax, and it was exempt in the hands of shareholder. Then came the most weird calculation, that is from 2024 to 31st March 2026, which we are going to discuss, because that is applicable for this ITR. But again, from 1st of April 2026, again they are going back to the first one, the initial 2013 tak jo apply hota tha. You go by section 46A, proceeds less cost of acquisition, capital gains, you pay capital gains tax on that. Only the promoters will have to pay some additional tax. Complete merry-go-round from 2013 to 2026. Now let us understand what is the present day taxation, not present day, but what is applicable for assessment day 26-27. It says that whatever buyback proceed you receive, that entire sale consideration, buyback is nothing but sale. If you term it as buyback, instead of selling it to someone else, I'm selling it back to the company. As simple as that. Okay. So what is that sales? So sales amount जो आपका आ रहा है, that will be deemed dividend under section 2, clause 22, subclause F. So entire gross receipt was considered as my income under IFOS as deemed dividend. Section 46A was not omitted. Section 46A is still there. What section 46A says? In case of buyback, whatever amount you receive, that will be your FVOC. Whatever amount you paid for acquiring that share, that will be your cost of acquisition. But in your case, if section 222F is applicable, then we will deem the FVOC as nil. So now in short what happened? आपको पहले जो आया उसको 222F में टैक्स किया, फिर 46A में भी आपको आना है, वहां पे भी आपको बताना है कि भाई मुझे ये 222F अप्लाई हो रहा है, that is why my FVOC is nil, but I have some COA that I am required to reduce from here, that will be my cost of acquisition, and ultimately it will result into loss because FVOC is nil. So now I have losses under the head capital gain and I have receipt under the head IFOs. I completely fail to understand what was this. Now the difficulty will arise in case of the shareholders who are unable to set off losses. In this scenario, say for example, buyback the price 500 rupees tha, IFOs में 500 rupees आ गया. My cost of acquisition was say for rupees 200 rupees. 200 rupees यहाँ पे FVOC मिल लेंगे, COA 200 लेंगे, I will have capital loss 200. Now I am someone senior citizen or I am someone who is employing. ठीक है, कभी कभार ट्रांजैक्शन कुछ कर लेता हूँ शेयर मार्केट में, जब भी लॉन्ग टर्म ही करता हूँ, शॉर्ट टर्म करता हूँ, whatever, but only profit transaction I do. Now I have these losses under the head capital gains because of this type of calculation. Now future में मुझे कभी loss, I mean profit शायद हो ना हो, I stop trading, मुझे करना ही नहीं इन्वेस्टमेंट अभी, then in that case what? So there were some categories, there definitely will be some categories of assessee who will suffer because of this, because they in lifetime they will not be allowed to set off these losses of their cost of acquisition. This is something which should have been a matter of challenge, right? Now coming to changes in ITR. Considerable amount of changes when it comes to trading in intraday and FNO. before going into what are the changes made in the ITR, let us just first discuss section 43, subsection 5. Section 43, subsection 5, the body of that section says that if you enter into a contract or a transaction which is settled otherwise than by way of an actual delivery of the underlying asset, it will be considered as a speculative transaction. So you enter into a contract to buy or sell, but you are not getting delivery of that particular underlying asset. Okay, that will be considered as a speculative transaction. That is the definition of speculative transaction, the main body we are talking about under section 43, subsection 5. A simple example is intraday transaction. What is intraday transaction? Intraday transaction is like morning I buy, evening I sell, squaring off within the same day. No need to take delivery. Reverse, morning I short, शाम को मैं long कर लेता हूँ, gain loss whatever, no need to take delivery. Intraday transactions. This will fall definitely within the definition of section 43.5, the main body. Similarly, derivative transaction, be it future option, okay, or forward contract, whatever you say. These are also transactions where there is no underlying delivery. So this will also qualify for the main body of section 43.5. These are speculative transaction, even the F&O derivatives. But there is a proviso which provides for exception to certain kind of transaction, even though which are in the nature of speculative transaction, still for the purpose of income tax, they will not be considered as a speculative transaction. So what are the exceptions? The very first three are hedging contracts. So if you are entering into any kind of hedging contract, those contracts, even though in speculation in nature, they will not be considered as speculative transaction. Clause number D and E specifically says that if at all you are executing your derivative transaction or a commodity derivative transaction or a recognized stock exchange in a proper portal, okay, online screen-based system through a SEBI registered broker, bank, etc., intermediaries, then in that case, your regular derivative transaction, only derivative transaction will not be considered as a speculative transaction. So now we have two categories. Speculative transaction, okay, consists of both intraday as well as F&O. But for the purpose of income tax, speculative transaction is only intraday. F&O will not be considered as a speculative transaction. Am I clear with this? Okay, fair enough. Now going ahead. In the ITR, the flow is you have to first punch your figures from your regular books of accounts into the trading account if applicable. From trading account, you will get your gross profit. That gross profit will be transferred to your P&L account. ठीक है, P&L account के बाद deduction वगैरह आने के बाद you will get your net profit, and that net profit will transfer to the PGBP schedule. This is the flow. Okay, we all are aware. So now, how to understand this particular changes? In your trading account, the amendment is that firstly, it says that line item 4 to line item 12 is the regular trading account. Your credit side of the trading account, gross receipt, closing stock, whatever. Deductions corresponding to that, you will get your gross profit. That gross profit is in serial number 12. That gross profit will be transferred to your P&L account in the ITR I am talking about. Now, if you see this, I hope you are able to see the tables, right? If you see in your trading account, serial number 12 says your gross profit transferred to P&L account in the ITR. After serial number 12, they have inserted 4 line items, 12A, 12B, 12C, 12D. 12A talks about turnover from intraday trading. 12B talks about income from intraday trading. 12C talks about turnover from F&O. 12D talks about income from F&O. So these are the additional disclosures which are required to make. Now, firstly, let us understand. So serial number 12 hai, that is your gross profit. The first question is whether 12A, 12B, 12C, 12D, whether they are subset of 12 or they are mutually exclusive. What I mean to say is whether 12 के अंदर जो आपको gross profit आया है, that should include your intraday and F&O transaction profit or not. Okay, so for this purpose, we'll have to refer to 12B and 12D. if you refer to the wordings, it says income from intraday trading transferred to P&L. Same way, F&O income transferred to P&L. So what they mean is, apart from 12, we will be transferring whatever figures you punch in 12B and 12D to your P&L account. So this is a separate reporting which you are required to make in your trading account, and it will not be subset of 12. So 12 will be mutually exclusive of 12B and 12D. Okay, even if you refer to the P&L account, because ultimately profit is getting transferred to P&L. P&L item का first line पढ़िए, it says profit transfer from trading account, then they have mentioned 12 plus 12B plus 12D. What does this mean? That they are going to add up all the three over here, regular trading profit plus intraday profit plus F&O gross profit. That will be punched in automatically in P&L. Okay, this is the new thing which you are required to remember. Now, considering different scenarios. Say, for example, I am a manufacturer or a trader or a professional, whatever. I have my regular business. With that, I am doing F&O activities or intraday activities, whatever. In that case, in my books of account, I can record it in the manner I want, or as per the accounting standard policy, whatever I have adopted. Not an issue. In my income tax return, in my trading account, if I am a manufacturer, trader, or professional, whatever, in that case, in the regular trading account from serial number 4 to serial number 12, I will have to report only the results of my main operations of my manufacturing, trading, or professional, whatever. And my trading result from intraday or F&O, that I will have to report in 12A to 12D separately. So ultimately, gross profit from a regular operation plus gross profit from my intraday and F&O, all three of them will be transferred to my P&L. Now take a case where assessee is a trader full time. मेरा सिर्फ यही काम that I am only in trading activities. Okay, in that case, I have two options. Either I can fill up the entire trading account if I want, because मेरे पूरे खर्चे वर्चे में ऑपरेशन से मेरा ये है ट्रेडिंग करना. Or you have the option कि भाई आप एक लाइन में खत्म करो. According to me, if your business activity is actually trading, advisable to give a proper disclosure in entire trading account for serial number 4 to 12. Okay, this will be helpful in case of salaried or some other part-time assessees who are doing some minuscule part-time investment in or trading activities in F&O and this thing intraday. So कोई salary बंदा है जो कर रहा है intraday and F&O, for him trading account is compulsory. ITR 3 is compulsory. Don't go into IFOs. For 26 years से stock exchange से सब आ जाता है अभी. Fill up trading account, just two figures you have to fill up. Now the main question is what figures to punch in, what is the turnover, what is the profit, that we will discuss later, but this is just a reporting requirement. Now if you refer to the P&L account में हमने पहला लाइन आइटम देखा जहां पे सारे तीनों प्रॉफिट यहाँ पे आ रहे थे P&L पे, रेगुलर प्रॉफिट प्लस F&O एंड इंट्राडे प्रॉफिट P&L के स्टार्ट में आ रहे थे. देन यू हैव P&L अकाउंट के अंदर पूरा आपका डिडक्शंस क्लेम होगा, ठीक है, एंड नीचे आफ्टर द लाइन आइटम देयर इज अनदर serial number 65 which says turnover from speculative activities. अब ये तीसरी आइटम निकली. So what is this turnover from speculative activities? According to me, it should not be intraday because there is now specific line item in trading account. F&O तो वैसे भी हो नहीं सकता because provision to section 43(5) excludes F&O from speculative activities. So here you are required to report those speculative transactions which are not intraday transactions. Okay, so any speculation which you have done apart from intraday, you are required to report here in the P&L account.
Give some example. What is that?
Wagering contract होते हैं. There can be some अभी ये जो आती है क्या बोलते हैं Dream 11 etc. These games all are there. The proper betting.
Betting.
Yes, all those things can also be covered. It depends. There can be various wagering contracts things. अगर बुक्स मेंटेन नहीं है, speculative transaction you are anyway required to report.
The software are giving a notification. You're not maintaining books of accounts, that is not notified.
Okay, so okay. So what we mean to say is, if I have some speculative transaction apart from intraday and I have regular books of account, I will have to fill up in the regular P&L. And if I am not maintaining my books of account, then I have to fill up in 61. Possible. Possible.
The software thing.
Correct. Possible. हो सकता है.
Also, this speculative transaction, future transaction in virtual business assets, they have to be reported here in asset transactions.
You mean to say you are classifying your VDA transaction as a speculative transaction?
No, future accounts.
Future option बीच में आ ही नहीं सकता. It can never come here because future option is not a speculative.
Previously we discussed that. Well,
नहीं यहाँ पे VDA का तो नहीं आएगा. It is only for F&O activities.
but suppose somebody is going to attend over the VDA.
हाँ, then हो सकता है. Yes. I'm not much aware with this technology, to be very honest. But if there is F&O in VDAs, then you have to report it. Okay, now coming from P&L to PGBP schedule. In PG, yes, ma'am. You maintain books of account, you will get all the expenses. Ultimately, what you are required to report is two things. Actually, this disclosure is for such kind of people. I am a salaried person, I am doing F&O, I have some genuine expenses which corresponds to F&O transactions. I am into business. That is for sure. I cannot treat it as IFOs. I am into business, I have to maintain my books of account, if applicable. In that case, either I will fill up my entire trading account if I have all the details of my expenses, or at the most आप दो फिगर बताओ, टर्नओवर क्या है और आपका फाइनल प्रॉफिट क्या है उसमें से आफ्टर डिडक्टिंग योर एक्सपेंसेस. यस, see the forms will never override the law. If the law permits it, you can do anything. I will come to that, man.
Sir, just confirming, PD account.
Sorry.
This is the head figure, right?
Sorry, who's talking? Sorry.
This side.
Okay, yes.
This PD account disclosures are received as net income, right?
They say income. 12B, income from intraday transaction.
These are after your losses also of the current year.
I could, yes, the final result. Final result.
If it's a loss, there is a negative figure coming.
You have to punch in the negative figure. It will allow you to punch the negative figure also. Now coming to PGBP schedule. So from P&L we are coming to PGBP. Here in PGBP, all the type of profits or losses, whatever it is, it will be consolidated. If you see over here in the first line item, okay, profit before tax, it includes even that 65 number. Okay, that is the speculative activities. Okay, and it includes 53. 53 is nothing but your brought forward trading, the final amount of your P&L account, which includes even from trading account. So it will include everything in short. But 2A, which I have highlighted over here, that will exclude only two things. 12B of trading account, that is your intraday. So intraday profit will be excluded, and serial number 65(4) of P&L, that is the speculative activities, that will be excluded. So that will be excluded from your regular PGBP. Why? Because these two are speculative business activities. So that will be punched automatically directly in serial number B of PGBP, which is computation of income from speculative business. वहां पे आप देखो तो लाइन आइटम 2A का रेफरेंस दिया है. 2A के अंदर दो रेफरेंस है, इंट्राडे का इनकम एज वेल एज स्पेक्युलेटिव प्रॉफिट का, स्पेक्युलेटिव एक्टिविटीज का इनकम. So you have to be very careful for this. Now the moot question which was asked, what is the amount of turnover? The very common question which I received from, possible solution which I received from many of my friends is that गाइडेंस नोट रिफर करते हैं. गाइडेंस नोट के अंदर टर्नओवर बताया गया है, कैसे टर्नओवर कैलकुलेट करना, वो टर्नओवर डाल देंगे इसमें. एब्सोल्युटली रॉन्ग, एब्सोल्युटली रॉन्ग. You cannot refer guidance note for the purpose of punching figures of turnover in the ITR. Reasons. para number 5, subpara 11, clause A and clause B of the revised guidance note on tax audit of 2025 edition. It says that this particular methodology or this particular explanation as to how to calculate turnover for intraday transaction or for future option transaction is only to determine the applicability of section 44AB and nothing further. So that computation methodology is only and only for the purpose of determining what is the turnover for which we will have to compare with 44AB ka threshold, 1 crore or 10 crore. Mostly in F&O transaction 10 crores. Okay, so now just let us have a recap कि भाई guidance note में क्या दिया है. Guidance note में बोला है कि if at all you are into speculative transaction, okay, intraday transaction for example, in the books of account you can be recording the net basis transaction. ठीक है, this line item is, I mean this particular line is written in the guidance note itself that in the books of account you may be recording directly the net amount. कि पूरे दिन का जो भी square up होता है, negative हो या positive हो, ultimately जो net figure आएगा that will be you will be reporting in the books of account. But for the purpose of calculating the turnover from that particular speculative transaction, you will have to take the modulus, I mean to say aggregate or summation of all the negative and positives. You have to ignore all the negative figures. I mean, not ignore the figure itself. You have to ignore the negative side. Everything, whatever figure you get, that you take a total that is under the modulus, and what you will get is the turnover just for the sake of comparing with the figure of the 10 crore. This turnover is not the turnover which you are required to report anywhere. This is just to determine whether you have crossed that limit of 10 crores under section 44AB clause A, the proviso therein. That is just for the purpose of that. Okay, so please don't mistaken for this particular aspect. Okay, that turnover calculation जो guidance note में दिया है, that is not for that, for reporting in the ITR. In the ITR, now coming to the question, what should we report as a turnover? That depends on your accounting policy. That depends on how you account it. But in this paragraphs of the guidance note itself, the ICI has made a passing comment saying that if you read the very first line over here, the entries in the books of account are made only for the differences. This is for the speculative transaction. If you read the second one for F&O, that is clause B, it says the very first time, but the entries in the books of account are made only for the differences. So indirectly, even ICA is suggesting that when you talk about how to record in the books of account your turnover, you will be recording only the differences. So say for example, in the entire year, every day I calculate what is my profit, what is my loss, what is my profit, what is my loss. In the entire year, I have 150 days where I have made a positive difference of 8 crores. 150 दिन का positive difference आया, which is 8 crore rupees. दूसरे balance days में negative figure आया, which is coming to 7 crores individually day wise. So here, for the purpose whether tax audit is applicable or not, the turnover will be 8 crore plus 7 crores as per the guidance notes. So it will be 15 crores, which is exceeding 10 crore as per the proviso to clause A of section 44AB. You are required to do tax audit. But that's it. That 15 crore will not come in your ITR. In your ITR, you can report only 1 crore. The difference, that is 8 crore positive, 7 crore negative, difference 1 crore. That is the only figure which will appear in your books of accounts. If there are other accounting policies or standard on how to report this, then of course you have to go by that. But we are discussing here only about the taxation. Are we clear on this? हाँ जी, तो उसके लिए 1 crore. Absolutely, yes, precisely. Sorry, can you just raise the hand, please? Yes, there is possibility. Negative भी हो सकता है. अभी वो ITR को उतना समझ में नहीं आता सर. देखना पड़ेगा whether they accept that turnover or not.
The problem is what the software are different.
Yes.
Active.
Yes.
It doesn't accept the negative turnover there.
I understand. And representation will have to be made up. In any ways, according to me, see if there is a possibility, I am not sure because ITR 3 is not out in practical. So I am not sure if there is a negative, even in books by account, if there is a negative net result in this particular 12A or 12C, I will have to report my turnover as negative. We don't know whether ITI will accept negative turnover or not. This is a very biggest question.
This is a problem since many years.
Yes. So in that case,
These cases in tax or maybe both the ratios, you know, that there we have problem.
yes, because negative, of course, yes. According to
It is not possible, like, that.
some practical issues in the software, or I can say the ITR utility. But according to me, what I always advise to the people who come for litigation for this kind of things is that you go by the law. Form में जो डाला है, form में जो हो रहा है, you go by the law. What I will suggest in this case is that in that case, if there is a negative figure, you put in that figure. If it is not accepting negative, you put that particular figure, whatever it is, without negative.
In this case, I was, what I did till last year was that positives I was putting in sales and the negative I was putting in purchase. That's how I was computing.
That is only if you fill up the full reading. But what if you yes.
I just put those two items.
Correct. That is very much possible. If you have full reading. But if you go by 12 and 12B, that will not be possible.
I just those two figures and put it.
Yes, so that is definitely a good option to segregate both of them and you have a net negative result.
Now, because they have especially for FNO now. So then it becomes difficult because
Absolutely.
they become very.
Let us see when the ITR comes, how the utility is going to accept this kind of thing. Because naturally even they will have good advisors कि भाई इतना तो basics है. Loss ज़्यादा लोग करते हैं profit से ज़्यादा. Clear. So of course यार, there will have to be something. Correct?
Hello.
Yes.
Hello, sir. Is it to be required anywhere in income tax return because we are reporting only net 1 crore.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
8 crore positive, 7 crore negative.
Yes. Yes.
We require to report 15 crore negative.
That's what I said. 15 crore never do anything. Never either, like Madam said, 8 crore in the credit side, 7 crore debit side, net total you will get. If you fill up only one item, then your turnover will be 1 crore, your income will be 1 crore.
In our profit and loss account, there also we have to report 8 crore in credit side, 7 crore in debit side, or just 1 crore net we have to report.
That depends on you, yeah, whatever.
Depends on. A question, sir, suppose that profit is not applicable, then that law will be applicable 6%.
I understand. Yes, someone else was also there, I guess. Yes. Sir, just a minute. Can you please pass on the mic?
As you mentioned that the turnover is financially there. So what is the turnover you mentioned that that's all before? Will be the same turnover what you mentioned in the financials?
According to me, yes. In even in your see, that's what my intention was that modulus thing is only for limited purpose to determine your whether you're exceeding the threshold or not. That's it. That turnover has nothing to do with your actual financial position. Your turnover has to be what you record in your books of account. Should we go ahead? Okay, fair enough. This is never ending dispute. It's going to continue. Now, I think someone asked this question. This is what it is. A judicial president, assessee had derivative transaction. He had a turnover of 42 lakhs, around 42 lakhs ka turnover as per the assessee. I don't know how he calculated, but turnover is 42 lakhs. He applied 44 AD on that, 8%. He declared 3,40,000 as his total income going into the present use scheme. AO says, I have information that your turnover is not 42 lakh, it is some 5 crores, etc. As usual, कुछ भी बोल देते हैं. 5 crore, 42 lakhs से 5 crore का figure किधर से आया पता नहीं था. It went to CIT appeal. CIT appeal said yes, AO has no basis to adopt 5 crore 24 lakh. He has no underlying material for that. Your turnover will be what you reported, but I will increase your income to 50%. Tribunal said no. किस खुशी में? assessee has opted for 44AD. You are not disputing that he is disqualified 44AD, and he is opted to 8%. That's it. Now you cannot say, okay, I want to increase your this profitability. If you dispute that he is not eligible for 44AD, that's a different question now. But once you have not disputed that fact, then you have to go by what assessee has reported. Okay, because it's a presumptive scheme, he has reported 8%, you go by 8%. So this is again jurisdiction tribunal's decision on this. I'll just run through these very small changes, disclosure changes. We have to cover some other important topics also. Okay, so in schedule IF, okay, information regarding the partnership form. There are 9 new items which you are required to report. What is the interest due or received from the partnership firm? If you are assessee, what is the interest which you are required to receive from that? Remuneration which you are you are going to receive from the partnership firm. These are the new reporting requirement. Political donation, again a very hot topic nowadays. People are receiving notices like hell. Okay, claiming reduction in the section 80 GGC. Additional disclosure, you are required to mention the name of the party. Okay, नाम अभी तो डाल दो, बाद में पता नहीं वो पार्टी रहेगी या ना रहेगी. अभी के लिए नाम तो डाल दो. PAN number, okay, PAN number you are required to report. Additionally,
Sir,
yes sir.
that interest part of the partnership form,
Yes sir.
debit balance and credit balance, show the net amount or you should show separately? The partnership, and you show that you close the partnership with the partner, and interest received from partnership will show separately. You just paid interest to the firm also for the loan. Debit balance of capital.
Just a minute, just a minute.
Yeah.
See that wordings are interest due from the partnership firm. If you go by the wording, it includes other cases. It includes everything. Okay, donation हो गया था. Yeah, donation 80G also you are now required to give the reference of your transaction which you for the donation made. Transaction reference number IFSC code डालना है. That's additional. Very important again for 44AD ITR. I mean ITR 4. This optional reporting requirement is inserted whereby you have an option to report your investments in this. Okay, it's optional. 4 ऐसे line item which are mandatory, which are written down. 15, 19, 20, 21. I have highlighted it. Sundry creditors, inventories, sundry debtors, balance with bank, cash in hand. These are the mandatory fields. Other all are optional. This investment is also now optional. If at all you want to report your investment, in case of books of accounts not maintained, you can report it over here. IFRS, there is a bifurcation given जो last others वाला होता है interest income के लिए residuary clause others. So there you have specified that here you are required to even report the income interest income from company deposit, NBFCs and housing finance corporations. Very important for you all, auditors detail in the ITR. They have done away with many of the line items. Only the line items which are in blue are now required to be filled up. They have omitted name of the auditor signing the tax audit report. किसी पे भी blame डाल सकते हो बाद में. Of course, membership number भी निकाल दिया है उसके लिए. Proprietorship form, registration number भी निकाल दिया है. Okay, UDIN भी निकाल दिया है. I would say actually UDIN रखना चाहिए था. UDIN की वजह से याद आता था कि भाई UDIN generate करना बाकी है. Now once you miss, you'll go on, it's gone. Report, acknowledgement number of the audit report जो पहले फाइल होगा. Yes. Because audit report will be required to be filed 1 month before. So हाँ होगा कुछ ना. Ultimately you are adding yourself as a CA in the portal of client. तो उसमें सब details है ही. This was just additional details. Representative assessee अगर आपका ITR फाइल कर रहा है, again some additional disclosure, name, email ID, contact number. Secondary communication detail again. There is this concept is there in the portal also, primary, secondary. Now they have incorporated even in the ITR. So they will allow you to even insert secondary address. Okay, primary address, secondary address, mobile number, email ID. There will be 2 options now. This is very interesting. Amendment made by Finance Act 2026. with respect to the revision of income. Firstly, up to last year, revision was possible only up to 9 months from the end of the relevant assessment year, right? That is up to 31st of December. Finance Act 2026 made an amendment which now says you can revise up to the end of the relevant assessment year. That is nothing but 12 months from the end of the relevant financial year. If you talk about this year, then it is like 31st March 2027. You can revise your ITRs for assessment year 2026-27. No problem with that. उन्होंने बताया है कि you can revise even up to March. Additional 3 months given. But it comes with some fees. ठीक है, 234I they have introduced now. 234I says, if at all you are revising your return before 31st of December, that is within 9 months, then in that case there will be no fees for revision. If at all you are revising after 9 months, that is from 1st of January 2027 to 31st of March 2027, if you do revision in this period and if your total income exceeds rupees 5 lakhs, then the revision fees will be 5,000 rupees. If it is less than 5 lakh rupees, then the revision fees will be 1,000. So अगर आप revise late कर रहे हो related revision, if you do that, it will be subjected to some fees of 5,000 1,000. ठीक है? Now coming to some 2 marks question of interest. What will be the total fees in this scenario? The original ITR was filed on 30th November 2026. Salary is 10 lakh rupees. Thereafter, ITR was revised because interest income of 3,000 was missed. It was revised on 31st of January 2027. 5,000. Fees will be 10,000. Think again. Total fees. The ITR is filed belatedly. 234F will apply. सर टोटल फीस लिखा है इसके लिए तो फीस है कि नहीं 2 मार्क का क्वेश्चन तो है सर that should never be considered as a cost of compliance, sir. Okay, fair enough. So now here in this scenario, the fees will be 10,000 rupees. 234F का 5,000 लगेगा for original belated ITR. Second 5,000 लगेगा for this revision of your original return. That is after this particular date. ठीक है? और थोड़ा मसाला डालते हैं. Second time I am revising. Whether again 5,000 will apply for revision. No revision. Act says if at all you are revising your original return, we will levy fees. You revise it 1 time, you revise it 3 times, every time we will levy. According to law, according to me, my interpretation of this particular provision, this piece of second revision may apply. 15,000 हो सकता है. This is my interpretation. Because 234I says that if the assessee is revising the original return, it will be levied fees. There is no proviso कि भाई एक बार fee भर दिया तो वापस नहीं भरना है. Okay, so you have to take care of this.
We are revising second time. Second time we are revising the first.
Never ever. If you refer to section 139 subsection 5 or read with section 234I, the revision is always of your original return. So I will say in this way, the first time I revised my original return, discovering that I omitted something in my original return. Second time I am revising, it will be considered I am revising second time. I am revising again, not second time. I am revising again by discovering certain further omission which was committed in my original return. Your revised return has always, irrespective of the number of return you file, revised return, it has always the reference will be to the original return, never to the first revised return.
So can that be revised?
Yes. 139.5 amendment was made in 2017, which permits you to revise even your belated returns. Earlier it was not allowed. Up to I think from 2013 this came that you cannot revise your belated return. But then again it was eased off in 2017 or somewhere that even the belated decision can be revised. That is there. Now coming to the next part of the session, judicial precedent. Some good decisions are covered. The very first one. Here is the case. Again, this is the case where there is contradictory interpretation of the law as read by the law itself and as read by the income tax utilities. Okay, whether to follow ITR or whether to follow the law. So the assessee had short-term capital gain STT paid, which is chargeable under 112 at the rate of 15%. So he had that STCG for that year. He also had STCG from non-STT paid transactions. So in that case, non-STT paid transaction का 30% slab लगेगा, ठीक है? And he had short-term capital losses from STT paid transactions. Assessee had a good chartered accountant. He says, fine, STCL जो है मेरा STT paid STCL है, I will first like to set it off against my non-STT paid STCG, so as to bring down that STCG at a lower level, because उसके ऊपर 30% slab है. ITR said no, we will not allow you. ITR said STT paid का लॉस है, उसको पहले STT paid के गेन के सामने सेट ऑफ करो, मतलब 15% के सामने सेट ऑफ करो. Assessee says in the tribunal, there is no bar in the law. There is no specific order given for this particular transaction. I have to go by this only in the High Court, sorry, not the tribunal. This kind of matter goes only to High Court in the way of writ petitions. High Court concurred with the assessee. High Court say taxability you determine in assessment, but you cannot debar the assessee from claiming it in the ITR. You cannot do that. Because the law does not debar, your utility cannot debar the assessee. This is what exactly I meant to say when there are differences, we face problems in the ITR कि ITR accept नहीं करता. Okay, you mention something and you write a letter to the JO at that very moment कि भाई मैंने ITR में ये line item में ये punch किया है, but according to me this negative figure is not getting accepted. So I have written this, but my actual turnover is this. So that at least you are communicated to the department immediately. Now it is for them to take a call. If they are processing it in a negative way, against or adverse you have the remedy of appeal. Unfortunately, you have to go for appeal and this litigation cost. But at least you can go by the law.
If the JO refuses to accept that letter,
Go to appeal. Come to me. I'll take you to the High Court, not just CID, I will go to the High Court. Okay, next is mistake in the ITR. So this is a very recent judgment where fortunately I was a part of this particular case. It's a case where the Swaminarayan Mandir Trust, they had punched in some wrong figure. Addition, double addition, कुछ तो भी हो गया था. They had punched wrong figure in ITR. Thereafter they filed rectification. Rectification, AO says, like sir said, I am not going to rectify it because you yourself have declared this amount. And secondly, this is not something which is apparent from record. Okay, then the trust went to revision 264. By saying that कि भाई मेरे से double addition हो गया है, just rectify this particular intimation. ठीक है? Commissioner बोलता है PCIT, no, I cannot do that. There is no power to revise something which you yourself have mentioned in the ITR. High Court say, what are you doing? Assessee has committed some mistake. He is coming clean before you. There is no debar under section 264 to not allow revision where there is mistake committed by the assessee himself. So if there is a mistake committed by the assessee, both 264 should have been invoked. I mean, jurisdiction should have been exercised and this mistake should have been rectified. Belated filing of 10I 115 PSC opt out करना है या फिर वापस कुछ ये करना है. Okay, there is a statutory limitation period. You have to file it within this due date. Okay, intimation itself rejects. Okay, it will disallow your old scheme, new scheme का जो भी आपका allowances है, deductions है. If at all you fail to file these forms within the due date, there are a series of judgments now which says that this kind of limitation is directly. Even if you produce that form 10IA subsequently, okay, in the up to the course of assessment proceeding, then also it is fine, you will get the benefit. Again, defective ITR, this is also very interesting. Defective ITR के लिए intimation ही नहीं आता. They will just declare that your ITR is considered invalid now. 139.9. There is no even intimation to challenge it before the CIT appeals. Right? So in this case also the Honorable High Court has said that the declaration of treating a particular ITR as invalid, this declaration itself is an adjudication by authority of the income tax, which is appealable or which can be subject matter of revision in 264. So the department said no, we cannot exercise any other of the jurisdiction of 154 or 254 for against this kind of declaration where your ITR is treated as invalid. In this case, the only lapse was that turnover का difference था. According to assessee, GST include किया था नहीं किया था net amount था. Okay, according to department, they were like कि turnover exceeding 10 crores. Assessee says if you consider net amount, okay, which is as per the guidance note, it has to be net amount. It is less than 10 crores. So for that purpose, it was considered as a defective. Okay, do we have time? Fair enough. Presumptive tax is our favorite topic, everyone's favorite topic actually.
Important.
Yes. Okay, presumptive taxation में पहले case law देख लेते हैं. Okay, this is very good case law recently pronounced by the Honorable Bombay Tribunal. This is the case where the employee is giving business corresponding services to a bank. There are a lot of questions which are asked. कि अगर मैं services दे रहा हूँ किसी को, then I am covered by 44 ADA. No यार. 44 ADA is only for specified professionals. Professionals are giving service, I understand, but not every service provider is a professional. Okay, so in this case, similar is the scenario where the assessee is the service provider providing business correspondent services to some bank. He has opted for section 44 AD and he has applied 35% as his profit rate. Assessing officer applied 50%. CIT appeal says yes, 50% is correct. It should be as per 44 ADA. Tribunal clearly said, how can we do that? He is not a person who is covered by section 44 AA subsection 1, that is a specified professional, legal, architect, XYZ. Then he can never fall under 44 ADA. How can you tax it at 50% under 44 ADA? And also you are not able to point out how he is not covered by 44 ADA. 44 ADA says any business. I am service provider, that does not mean I am not in business. So providing service does not mean only professional services. Okay, this service is also my business. Okay, so in this particular case, tribunal says no, he is not covered by 44 AA subsection 1 specified professional. That is why he will not be covered by even by 44 ADA. 50% job ने बढ़ाया है, that is squashed. Secondly, very important finding. Tribunal says you have to add up the rate as declared by the assessee under 44 ADA, under 44 AD, okay, as given by the assessee, unless you can reject it only in 3 scenarios. This is the view of the tribunal. First is the assessee is shown to be ineligible for 44 AD naturally. Commission business में हो, hiring client business में हो, you are ineligible, you cannot claim 44 AD. If the assessing officer is able to demonstrate that, definitely 44 AD benefit will not be applicable to you. Second is gross receipt declared or found to be incorrect. Very important. Gross receipt के लिए कोई presumption नहीं है. Gross receipt has to be accurate. Presumption is only with respect to your profit, not for the turnover. So if the assessing officer is able to determine कि भाई आपका turnover 8 crores नहीं है, आपका turnover 12 crores है, या फिर आपका turnover 1.5 crore नहीं है, 2.5 crore है, then in that case you will be ineligible. Third is there is a material to demonstrate suppression of receipt or inflation of expenses. So if the AO is able to demonstrate this thing, that you deliberately suppressed it or you deliberately inflated your expenses, then in that case also you are ineligible. This is the view of the tribunal. Okay. Now coming, we'll just run quickly through the presumptive taxation. First, section 44 ADA, जो पहले आपने को अप्लाई होता है वो पहले देखने का, बाकी सब बाद में. ठीक है. 44 ADA start with a non-obstinate clause, it will override section 28 to 43C. ठीक है. तो कोई भी 28 to 43C के condition that will not apply. It will be applicable only to resident and that too only to individuals and firms. Okay, not being an LLP. Firms के अंदर भी non-corporate. LLP को नहीं apply होगा. Only for resident, individual and resident firm other than LLPs. Who are carrying out specified profession given in section 44 subsequent. Sir, can we wait for some time? I'll take up your question. We'll just complete this flow. So that person is carrying on profession which is specified in the section 44 subsection 1. This section is applicable only if your turnover or gross receipt, not turnover, oh yeah, if your gross receipt is up to rupees 50 lakhs. However, this 50 lakh has been enhanced to 75 lakh only and only if your cash receipts are less than up to, sorry, not less than, up to 5% of the total receipts. Then maximum profit which, minimum profit which you can presume is 50%. You can declare even higher percentage, no problem with that. Deduction of the 30 to 38 will be deemed to have been granted. First proviso of section 44AB. The first proviso of section 44AB says that if at all you are eligible and you have opted for section 44ADA, then the provisions of section 44AB will not apply. In short, tax audit provisions will not apply. Because 44AB clause B provides that if your gross receipts are exceeding 50 lakh, then you are required to do audit. So that proviso is in direct contrary to section 44ADA, the proviso which is inserted where the limit is enhanced to 75 lakh. So to bridge this contradictory position, they have inserted a proviso even in 44AB to say that if at all you are eligible for 44ADA, then no audit under 44AB. 44ADA subsection 4 very important. It says that if you declare your profits less than the specified percentage, then you will be required to maintain your books of account and you will be required to get them audited. This is provided in subsection 4 of section 44ADA. So less than 50% mandatory audit and maintaining books of account for that previous year only. Even section 44AB clause D says the same thing. It says if at all you declare your profit less than 50%, you are required to get your accounts audited under section 44AB. Okay, very simple. But this is only for the relevant previous year, financial year 25-26 only. You are required to do audit only for this year, nothing further. Now coming to 44AB. Same non-obstant clause override section 28 to 43C, applicable only to resident, that is individual. HUF is included here. Of course, HUF cannot have a profession by itself. Okay, so individual HUF firms not being an LLP. Okay, it is applicable to any business. Please remember this. It is applicable to any business except the following. First is it is not applicable to a person carrying profession under 44AA1. So specified profession for them 44AD is not applicable. A person who is carrying commissioning or brokerage business, so that person will not be eligible. Person carrying agency business, he cannot opt for 44AD. Assessee who are claiming deductions under 10, 10AA, all those exemption category SEZ, EOU का जो भी exemptions है, chapter 6A part C, ATI, ATIB, etc. Those who are claiming those deduction, उनको भी 44AD apply नहीं होगा. Assessee who are in the business of hiring employee, 44A is applicable, it will not be applicable. This will be applicable, 44AD will be applicable to you only and only if the turnover is up to 2 crores. But they have enhanced the limit to 3 crores when the aggregate of receipt in cash does not exceed 5% of the total gross receipt. Minimum profit which you are required to declare is 8%. However, if your transactions are only in the specified banking code, you can declare also 6%. First proviso again to 44AB. First proviso of section 44AB specifically says that if at all you are eligible and you have opted for section 44AD, then you are not required to conduct audit under 44AB because 44AB के अंदर limit is 1 crore, subject to the proviso which is 10 crore. यहाँ पे आप 3 करोड़ तक जा सकते हो. So contrary था तो bridge किया. Now coming to a very important question which comes up every year. In this year, if I have a business, I am very much eligible in all respect to opt for 44AD. Say for example, my turnover is around 2 crores, 2.5, whatever it is. Now, I am declaring my profit percent less than 6% or 8% as the case may be. Will I be required to conduct audit? The answer of yes or no does not depend only on this particular fact. It will depend on the fact of what was your position earlier. So let us examine this. 44AD subsection 5 up to assessment year 16-17 specifically said, if at all you are declaring your profit less than the specified percentage, then you will be required to conduct audit for this particular year in which you have declared your profit less than 6%. Similar to what we saw in 44ADA subsection 4. This position was only up to assessment year 16-17. So the question which I asked, if you were up to 16-17, then the answer was definitely you are required to conduct audit because your profit percentage is less than the percentage prescribed in the act. However, section 44AD subsection 4 now specifically says that if at all in the previous years, in the preceding years, if you have opted for the provisions of section 44AD, that is declaring your profit percent of 8% or more in any of the previous years, and in this particular previous year, you are not going to opt for that. You are saying, no, my profit percentage is less. I want to declare less percentage. No problem, you do that. But subsection 4 says that if you do that for the next 5 assessment years, you will not be eligible to take the benefit of section 44AD. So subsection 4 only talks about next 5 years. This is an example. Say for example, Mr. Fauji claims to be taxed on representing taxation under 44AD for assessment year 1920. 1920 में उसने 44AD opt किया. He continued opting 44AD even for 2021 to 2023. But in the assessment year 23-24, he says, no, I don't want to continue with 44AD. It's not that his turnover is exceeding. He is saying that no, I will declare my profit lower. Then for that year, of course, he will declare profit less than 8%, 6%. Then subsection 4 will apply. Subsection 4 says that he will now, for the next 5 years, that is for assessment year 24-25 to 28-29, he will not be eligible to opt for section 44AD. Now carrying forward this to subsection 5. What subsection 5 says? Subsection 5 only says that if at all in your case, subsection 4 is applicable, then you will be required to maintain your books of account, and you will be required to get them audited for the next 5 years. So subsection 4 says that you will be ineligible for next 5 years. Subsection 5 says next 5 years के लिए आप books of account maintain करो और उसको audit करवाओ. Now what about this year? Next 5 years का समझ गया, audit करना है. इस साल audit करना है या नहीं करना है? Okay. Subsection 44AD clause B itself says if at all clause E 44AB clause E itself says if at all in your case provisions of subsection 4 of section 44AD are applicable, then even for the relevant year you are required to maintain your books of account and you are required to get them audited. Okay? So now my answer is that पहले मैंने ऑप्ट किया था, अब भी मैं ऑप्ट आउट कर रहा हूं, ओनली देयर इज प्रोविजंस इन ऑप्ट. पहले ऑप्ट इन किया था, दिस ईयर आई एम ऑप्टिंग आउट, इस साल मैं ऑडिट कराऊंगा, नेक्स्ट 5 years आई एम इनएलिजिबल, आई एम रिक्वायर्ड टू मेंटेन बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट, आई एम रिक्वायर्ड टू गेट इट ऑडिटेड. That is simple as that. Subsection 4, subsection 5. Now the question arises, is it like a written rule that just because my profit percentage are less than 6%, that means I have to get them audited. The answer to that is no. Scenario number one, it's my first year of business. First year of business, my turnover is 90 lakhs only. I am eligible for 4480. I am saying my profit percent is less than 6%. I will maintain my books of accounts. I will declare profit less than 6%, but I will not get them audited. Subsection 4 will not apply to me. Why? Because subsection 4 will apply only if पहले कभी मैंने 4480 ऑप्ट किया था और अभी मैं ऑप्ट आउट कर रहा हूं. ये तो मेरा फर्स्ट ईयर ऑफ बिजनेस है. How will I opt out when I have never opted in? According to me, this is my interpretation. Then in such scenario, even if my profit percent is less, 4480 will not apply. But I have to maintain my books of account. I can declare my profit less than 6% also. Second scenario, say for example, I have my running business. Running business every year. In every year, I have maintained my books of account. I have never opted for 4480, never ever. I have always maintained my books of account. This year I feel now I want to go for 4480, changes मैंने नहीं करना है, books of account maintain नहीं करना है. मैं 4480 में जाना चाहता हूँ, but 4480 बोलता है नहीं यार 6% तो मिनिमम डिक्लेयर करना पड़ेगा. मैं बोलता हूँ 6% मेरा प्रॉफिट है ही नहीं. I want to declare only 2%, so I don't want to go for 4480. But I want to declare my profit percent less than 6%. Can I do that? Of course you can do that. Am I required to get my accounts audited? According to me, no. Why? Because in any of the previous year, I have never opted for 4480. Which provision will you apply in this scenario? Which provision of section 4480 or section 4480 says that in this particular scenario you are required to get it audited? 4480 तो तभी अपना होता जब पहले कभी 4480 ऑप्ट किया था. And 4480 तो merely says audit, you are required to do audit under clause only 4480 subsection 4 is applicable. उसमें तो मैं घुसा ही नहीं हूं कभी. But now the practical issue. When you take this interpretation in the ITR, it will give you a pop-up. It says आपका profit percent is less than 6%. Please do your account, get your account audited. So that is up to you now whether you want to go into litigation or not. मैंने I have given you an avenue. ठीक है? If you want, you can झंझट भर नहीं चाहिए, छोटा क्लाइंट है, जाने दो, ऑडिट कर लो, खत्म करो. But according to me, this is what the interpretation is.
Sir?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the audit and then to write on the what section is it? You write there.
According to me, you can mention E only. That is the most relatable. Though it is not applicable. Strictly speaking, not applicable. So now this is FAQs which are posted on the website of the new income tax department. I mean, the new website आया income tax department का. उसके अंदर FAQs they were posted specifically for assessment in 26-27. Genuinely speaking, these are very good FAQs. Must be read by your articles, if not you. Must be read by your articles. There are good answers which they have given with respect to what you should fill in, what a particular should use. I have just copy pasted it over here. I am not discussing it. It's a self study. Okay, because we have I think less time for the next lecture. Fair enough. This I will conclude my session.
Question. So now, my question is bring a negative income of 1 lakh. So but will be carried forward or will be done?
F&O is a business activity. If you are classifying it as a business, then definitely yes. Why not? It's not speculation. Even if it is speculation, there you get 4 years. Here you get 8 years. The figure mentioned, no.
There is one more question here.
Yes.
Suppose 194 JB is certain. So now I have also been told, I have got a notice also from somewhere that because I have 194 JPDS, you can't consider as business, you consider as professional. What to do in this case?
The timing is very big. I think 10 days back, Chennai tribunal gave judgment on the exact issue. 124J EDS was deducted. Assessee says this is not that professional income which is covered by 44 ADA or whatever you say. Deductor might have implied 194J, but it is not in the nature of that. AO said no, 26 है मैं 194J professional income है 50% में apply करता हूँ. It went to the tribunal. Tribunal stressed on this point only. Well, AO, your work is to assess. You assess the nature of income first and then come to a conclusion. How can you come to a conclusion just on the basis of 26 days? The precise judgment has come just 10 days back. Yes, anyone else? Yes, please.
One question regarding water each other. This water is for profession, one is particularly.
I will have to look into the notification not covered according to me. Prima facie should not have been covered. Prima facie I say no, but I will have to look into that notification which where different list are prescribed. I will look into it, sir.
There is a new ITR form. The income they have been classified as category and subcategory. For the new ITR forms, what exempt income, they are now telling to the writer section, and they are classifying it as category and subcategory. So there are certain exempt incomes which are still not present in the till last year we could write it.
Okay, so you say that typing वाला जो line item वो निकाल दिए.
For example, sale of rural agriculture.
Correct.
That is not mentioned.
Honestly speaking, I mean, this is my interpretation. Sale of rural agricultural land is not an exempt income. It's not a capital asset itself. It's not covered by section 10. Okay. So it is.
But we should disclose.
So that you can specify over there. I understand that is the best schedule where you can specify. It's like ये ट्रायल एंड एरर कहीं पे भी डाल के कुछ हो सकता है अदर्स वगैरह का ऑप्शन है तो वहां पे डाल सकते हो नो ऑप्शन है या
ब्रेक में ले सकते हैं वन ऑन क्वेश्चंस
fair enough thank you so much for the question hearing Saral mentioned that we can thank you so much Saral sir mentioned that further question we can take one to one either over a phone call or even in the break if possible okay thank you so much for the question hearing thank you very much
Thank you, Shashank ji. Before giving formal vote of thanks to students, at the start of the session, I have mentioned that we are having a yoga session on 21st June on International Yoga Day at the Surya Hall, JB Nagar, Andheri East. So requesting members to be present in large numbers. Number two, on 11th July. We are having blood donation camp in collaboration with Tata Memorial Hospital. So requesting members to be present. It will be in Conjur Hotel only. So requesting members to be present in large number. We have committed 100 bottles. So and it is for all, not only for members. Requesting to bring your family, friends, whosoever. So we have committed 100 bottles. So it's so bottle good management. And office staff also. Whosoever is connected, connected. Few things on hygiene issues. At the start, initiated that we are doing, there is some confusion among members. Based on question issues, which are high and distributed here. Please know, finish payment is separately. The registration for each single meeting is separately. It hardly takes 2 seconds. I will also for each session. Still, more than 100 members are coming without registration. It is impacting our coordination for the event, arranging snacks for every hall, chairs. You can see, I mean, lot of disturbances to members. Last month we are arranging seats. So, if for any event, that also. So, now, I mean, registration, if 100 members are attending session, it is also creating a mess for organization, organizer, coordinator, hotel staff, arranging snacks. Last moment we have to add something. So please help us. It will help you in that data. So please in that registration, which hardly takes 2 seconds. We have done a lot of technological changes now. Earlier, Google Form, I know there was some complications. So we have rooted out those things, and it is a simplified. It's hardly take 2 seconds only. Membership number, put your email ID and membership number. If your membership number starts with 0, don't publish 0. Only with the pure number, you put your membership number, and every week you have to, it takes only 2 seconds. You have to see you are registered for the event. Simple. So it will number 2. Few members are registering and not attending. I can see 328 members registered, but we can see only 50% attendance out of those registered. So please don't do that also. One register program, I can, but every Sunday I can see this pattern. More than 300 members are registering for the event, but only 50% from the registrations are coming. That is also creating mess for us. And it's a waste of money. If you are working for small sales extra for extra hire, it wastes your money on you because I am spending your money on you. So please be, be disciplined yourself with my humble submission and request to you all. Other than that, up to July, few members have not paid their fees. Up to July, I have allowed that. But now, today also I can see 4 members, they are not paid and still attending the event. Please make sure you pay my money tomorrow. When you approach to institute side, you will not get seniors. So if you are not there, please pay a good only. And next from next event, please attend attend the session only on the page. So these are 2 things. And now Shashank, really impressed the kind of topic always and
एक दिन पहले रजिस्टर अगले दिन शाम को या रात को करते हैं तो नहीं आता सैटरडे 5 बजे तक
Actually, we expect to already from out of Mumbai. So streets की भी प्रॉब्लम होती है कि कभी ज्यादा हो जाएगा या कम हो जाता है क्योंकि जोधपुर से आ रही है स्ट्रीट्स आप भी जो भी स्ट्रीट्स खा रहे हो वो सब जोधपुर से आ रही है तो हम लोगों को भी लगता है
increasing the speaker quality of the speech जब से मैं ये वाला से दोस्तों से निकला रहा हूँ तो आपके कसम का रिटर्न आपको दर्शन हो रहा है और आपकी so this is the lighter side. So Shashank covered was excellent. I can see the after even 11 o'clock we not for going was request. Please continue presenting the session also coverage. So it will have up to you. Now what are these request result.
Good morning, friends. So on behalf of the JB Nagar Study Circle, I express our sincere thanks and gratitude to Mr. C.A. Shashank ji for giving us the enlightening session. Your session and approach was understanding the subject, the amendment, disclosure, compliance requirement, and the practical issues which comes across filing the new income tax return, which is not now launched. ITR 3, 5, 6, and 7 still are pending. But with your knowledge and what you have given the explanation regarding how we can put the data, punch the data on the income tax return, it will be a great helpful to all our members. Thank you, Shashank ji, for giving us so much information. And I request all of you to give a loud round of applause to the Shashank for giving the wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Break for 15 minutes only, and our second speaker is already there, so be quick on the session. Pinky, our own WRC member, please be there.